Hey everybody. Happy Saturday afternoon. So I've been a little spontaneous with my lives recently, and that's because I have time on my hands. And when I have time on my hands, I figure I'd take advantage of sharing with you. So today is Saturday, and it is a cleaning day. I am committed to cleaning my craft room because it is a mess. And as I was putting my stamps away, I realized some of them are really, really dirty. My goodness. So I thought I would clean them. And as I started to clean them, it was one of the Tim Holtz stamps that has the small stamps, and they're, have their place in the rubber template. As I was cleaning them, I realized how messed up it is, and I decided to take the plunge and actually remove them from their designated spot. So, hey, Robin. So I thought I would share with you my process for cleaning my stamps and just chit chat a little bit. I wanted to see what you guys do to clean your stamps, and thanks for the check. And just chat a little bit. So, Robin, maybe it'll be just you and me today. But let me go ahead and get comfortable here. I've got a cough coming on. I hope that's not the beginning of being sick. But let me go ahead and transition down, and we'll get to it. Okay, so this is what I was talking about as far as the shell. Hopefully you guys knew what I was talking about. But it's these stamps. Let me just get organized here. It's these stamps that are small that go into these, pre-cut templates, right? And if you've had stamps for a while, they start to tear. And, if you're using your stamps, oh, good, Robin. I think you'll like it. It's really cute. But if you're, where did you get it from? Just curious. Did you get it from the Stampers Anonymous? But if you're using the stamps, then at some point these are going to rip and kind of fall apart. So I decided to go ahead and take the plunge and put them just onto the plastic. But as I started to do that, I realized some of them weren't sticking very well. And I have this plastic. I know I shared this with you before, how I have these plastic cases in my shop that fit right in. So if the stamps are loose, they'll fall into the case and not into, your shelf. But I still would like for them to, oh, cherry on top. Excellent. I still wanted to clean them and give them the best possible life on their new plastic. So the tools that I'm going to be using are a toothbrush. I know we all have these. I have an electric toothbrush. So this is one that I got from the dentist office because I usually get a toothbrush when they offer me, because I usually use it for traveling. But in this case, it's going to be my stamp cleaner. So let me get that open. So a toothbrush, and then you're going to want a paper towel, of course. And then the way that I start out is I get warm water, warm soapy water, and I just kind of dump them all in there. And this alone helps them stick better. So if you just kind of clean your stamps every once in a while this way without worrying about the black, this will help your stamps stick. But we're going to go a step further, and we're going to actually try to clean off some of that black ink. And I know many people don't mind this, but at some point this may start affecting the sharpness of your stamping. So there's a couple products out there that you can use, and I'm looking for, there it is. If you're using a water-based ink, then you probably just clean this off with water and you're good to go. I know that they have water-based stamp cleaners, but honestly, if it's a water-based ink, you probably don't need to buy a special stamp cleaner for that. But if it's oil-based, and if it's, let's see here, dye pigment and solvent-based inks, you're going to want something a little stronger. And what I use is the Stays On all-purpose stamp cleaner. And that works really well. It's a little greasy, and they say to be in a ventilated room. So, Robin, you know that right? With my glue, you got to have that ventilated room, and then Stays On has that smell as well. I mean, is it really necessary? I don't know, but it says to do that, so I'm going to put that disclosure out there. So I have this, and then I bought this on Amazon, and I did put a link out there for you. If you already have a spray bottle, it's more cost effective to buy the refill and just keep refilling it. It's not like most, very expensive, but it's a little pricey, but it goes a long way. I've had these a long time. So let me just kind of go through here, and as we're going along, Robin, it's you and me, girl. Just feel free to share with me how you clean your stamps. So I'm just going to start out by just cleaning it with soap and water, right? Sometimes you can get a lot of the ink off with just soap and water. But if you've been using your stamps for a while, like I have, this probably isn't going to get it as clean as you want it. You can clean the backside too. Like I said, this is what's going to help you to have it stick better. Now, once you do that, if you find it still pretty dark, this is where the Stays On comes into effect. Now, I don't use rubber gloves. I guess you could. I don't. But this is where this darker ink should come out. And what I would say is, if you never clean your stamps, and I'm one of those people that rarely cleans their stamps, it's probably, I'm getting water all over the place. It's probably not going to, all over my TV here. It's probably not going to come back to new. If I were to clean one of my newer stamps that we just used the other day, then, I could probably get it fairly clean, right? I mean, you don't even need a brush usually when it's just used, but this one was used one time, well, a couple times. But you can probably get it pretty clean, when it doesn't have all that ink in there. But for me, to do this every time, if I use them every time I stamp, that's all I'd be doing. Now, Robin, you said you're afraid that they'll separate from the rubber. I've never had that experience, but if you've had that experience, certainly don't, avoid the soaking part. But I've never had that experience. So I'm just going to use my fingers, just kind of rub right in, and it gets pretty clean. I know that you have to use water though in order for them to, soap and water, for them to be able to re-stick, because sometimes it just doesn't, the stickiness of it just doesn't work anymore. All right, so that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put that one right there. Now this one still is a little bit dark. I'm going to spray it and just see if I can get into the nooks and cranny of this. Let's see. And even if it doesn't come back to new, which this one doesn't look like it's going to, just doing this cleaning will help them to stamp better. And because you're not going to have all that, gunky of the ink, but it will help them stamp better. It'll be crisp, and hopefully they will help stick to the plastic. All right, so there's that one. I'm gonna I mean, that's better. It's not perfect, but I'm not a perfect crafter, so I'm okay. You have the archival. So archival, I wonder if it's the same base. StazOn is really strong, and that's why I got that. But the archival, I mean, if it's for archival ink, I'm sure it works. You just want to make sure you don't have the water base, because the water base is not strong enough to clean it. And I don't normally take an afternoon to clean my stamps, but like I said, I was taking off the base. This is so messed up, and I wanted it to be able to stick to my plastic. So yeah, I guess we'll see, right? So that's Pebbles St. Leonard's. Thanks for joining. I guess we'll see about the rubber separating. You know, like I said, I've done this before. I've never had problems with it, but certainly I would hate to recommend something and have them give you a problem. So I guess time will tell, right? Time will tell. Yeah, I've seen the daubers as well out there. I have the spray, but I have seen some of the daubers out there. See, this one's fitting pretty good. And I'm not one of those people to clean my stamps after every use. I will get white paper and stamp all the extra ink off. But if you were to see my craft room, and if you were to talk to my husband, he would tell you I'm not really a cleaner. So yeah, so if you're worried about the rubber separating from the base, then by all means don't do it. But like I said, I've never had that problem. Maybe there's a warning out there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You know, maybe try it with a couple of stamps. The reason I like to soak them, and maybe it's not even a soak. I mean, I had so many, I just dumped them in here. If you had one or two, the reason for the soap and water is to clean this, because if this is clean, it will hold better on your plastic. And I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. So just some of these aren't as dirty as others, so I'm getting through them pretty quickly. Yeah, but I would hate for you to do it, Robin, and have yours separate. But I mean, I guess if you left them in there in a long time, you might have that problem. But I'm not leaving them in there a long time. I'm getting warm water. You know, and then I'm going right into the cleaning. I mean, I guess I could just do one at a time and not soak them, but honestly, I don't have that problem. And you can tell, yeah, my stamps are well used. And if your stamps aren't well used, you need to stamp more. All right, so moving along, pretty good here. Some of these are not as bad as others. You put tape runner? Yeah, but I don't like the way the I've done that, but I don't like the way the gum, I guess the gum of the tape, I don't like how it makes the back of the stamp look. Like this one right here, look at that. It's gummy, and I don't like that. So yes, I guess in a pinch you could do that. I wouldn't scrub the back of your stamp too much like I'm doing because it might affect your image, but yeah, you sure can, can't you? Yeah, this is yeah, see, you don't want to scrub too hard cuz you might lose some of your image. Um this is one of my favorite stamp sets. It's an older stamp set. Um but it's gotten a lot of love. And these postal stamps, postal themes are one of my favorite themes. So I have this one, and then I have the Christmas one as well from Tim Holtz. And I use them regularly. I have to say I use the Christmas one every Christmas. Um, but I really like this theme. And they're small. As you know, I'm into small stamps recently. See, that one's not too bad. Let's see here. And by doing this, it kind of reminds you of what you have. Because when I was pulling them off, I'm like, oh, this is a cool stamp. Oh, this is a fun stamp. So it reminds you of what you have. In fact, once I get these cleaned, I'm committed to cleaning my craft room today. But once I get that done, I might play with the stamp set again. It's so fun. All right, so there's that one. And I'm rinsing off. I'm rinsing off the Stays On because, again, it's an oil base. So I don't necessarily want to keep that on my stamp. So I want to make sure I don't leave any in here. We're getting to the real small stamps here. All right, so I've got this one, airmail. Okay. And if you have been re-inking your stamps, or your stamp pads like I have, in the beginning, the ink is a little thick, so sometimes it kind of gets in between the crevices, right? See, this one just hasn't been used very much. It's not very dark. But it gets inside the crevices, and sometimes you gotta clean. Alright, so there's that, and there's this. You rinse this off. See what else I got here. Yeah, some of these aren't too bad at all. You can just kind of clean them with water. So that one. This one isn't too bad either, but I think I'll spray it just to see if I can get some of that black off. And you know, to me, a perfectly clean stamp isn't necessarily impressive to me, because that means that your stamps aren't well used. I mean, if you have stamps that are dark and grungy, that means they're well used, right? And after all, that's why we buy them, not just to look at them, but to play with them. At least that's why I buy my stamps. There's that one. Ooh, this one is well used as well. Let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. So of course, I'll state the obvious. Once you use your toothbrush on your stamps, don't use it on your teeth. It is no longer a toothbrush, it is a stamp brush. So I'm sure I'm stating the obvious, but yeah, you don't want to do that. Yeah, some of these aren't too bad. They clean up just with soap and water. This is the one I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't even know I had that one, number 5. So that's fun. I've used this Tim one before. I don't know if it's a Tim circle with a T. I call it my Tim stamp because it has the T. So that's my Tim stamp. Yes, Robin, you need to. You're real good about supporting shops and buying stamps, but you definitely need to get some enjoyment out of them. So I would encourage you. One of the things that I've done is I have them organized so I can easily sift through my stamps. And you know, you've been watching me on, hey Melody, you've been watching me on YouTube for a while now, that you know I get use out of the product that I buy. And if there's something I haven't used in a while, I find a use for it, because you know, you obviously you buy it. I mean, I know we all want to support Tim, but his stuff isn't necessarily the cheapest stuff out there. And we buy it because there's something that we liked about it. Um, and I have this channel to give you guys ideas to be able to use your stamps. Melody, I saw that you found a stamp postage stamp die. I was glad to see that. Yeah, the Sussex die has been out of production for a while, but I don't carry it in my shop, or I should say a replicate of them, because most people have the postage stamp dies. I don't know, maybe I'll rethink that next year for my shop. We'll see. I'm actually kicking the idea around, and Robin, I think I shared this with you, about creating my own line of stamps. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I really want to get into that, but there's certain types of stamps that I want. And I've already reached out to a manufacturer. I got all the pricing and everything. I just don't know if I have enough of a following to justify my own line. Yeah, Melody. I mean, and then you don't feel guilty about paying the prices for some of these, right? If you're going to use them over and over again. So that's something I'm thinking about. I would do stamps. I would, you know, the manufacturer I'm talking to does stamps, ephemera, stencils, and dies. So I could do sets if I wanted to. But again, I don't know if that's something I want to get into. I'm thinking about it. This is an old set as well, but I think you can still get it because it was a popular one. I'm a big postal fan. Yeah, I'm a big postal fan. And this one gets a lot of use. And it's got some great stamps. You know, it's got the numbers. Yeah, it's a really good set. So yeah, so like I said, that's what I'm contemplating. I wasn't going to say anything because it may not happen, but we're all friends. So yeah, it's a lot of work because I'd have to design my templates. I'd have to put the cost up front, because you can't just buy one or two sets, right? I think you have to buy like, I don't know, 40 or something. I don't know, because they make a template, right? And they don't want you to just buy one set. So I just, and it's not terrible. I mean, it would be more expensive than the stamps I offer you now, because I get them from wholesalers and they're already made, and you know, you don't have the upfront cost. But I'd be able to have the sets that I want. And I'm thinking about it because, you know, as I'm hoping to retire in a couple years. And I can focus more time to classes. And if I had my own line with my own sets, I could design my stamps for my classes. So that's kind of my thought around that. But again, I don't know Yeah, Stampers Anonymous, but I can't do kits with Stampers Anonymous. They're too expensive. So we'll see. All right, so that's all of them. Let me dump this water really quick, and then we'll be back and we'll see how sticky they are. But as far as buying the stamp set, Melody, if you don't have the stamp set, like Robin said, Stampers Anonymous doesn't retire their stamps, so that's really nice. All right, so we want to make sure these are good and dry, because what we're going to do is we're going to put them back on their plastic. And if you recall in the beginning, I showed you I'm not putting them back in their shell. So I need to make sure they're nice and sticky. Gina K has a postal stamp. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's a pretty common theme. But you know, it's all about the size too, because some of these, like I was trying to play with these with some of my postage stamp that I made the other day for you guys, and even these were a little bit too big. So, and that's another thing why I was thinking about kind of getting my own set, because then I can, you know, design the sets based on what I'm going to make rather than make things based on what I find. So yeah, so this is dry and it's very clean, and it should stick. Yeah, look at how good that is. So that's the reason why I'm cleaning these, is because I want them, I'm not going to have that case anymore to support them, so I want them to be nice and clean. Yeah, so I don't like the one pieces. I like the stamps, and again, you guys have followed me for a while. I like the stamps that you can create ephemera out of. That's kind of my thing. It's kind of my thing. All right, so I'll have to get used to these being lined up a little differently than they were on the template. So you can kind of see my theme here. I'm putting the bigger stamps. See, yeah, that's great. Look at how they're sticking. That's perfect. Your spell binder has a second die that cuts the outline. Oh, okay. All right. All right. So I know Good Friday ads have already started to hit you guys. Is there anything that's on your wish list? Robin, I'm with you. I do. There's some designers that I really like, but I tend to, I really, even though, and I'll put my disclaimer out, I use some of these stamps that aren't deep rubber. Deep rubber is definitely my favorite, but these are more cost effective, and I could buy more of these. And like I said, I've been into the littles a lot. I can buy more littles for the price of one Tim Holtz set. So I do mix and match, but definitely the deep rubber stamps are my favorite. All right, so I'm just drying these and lining them up, and they're sticking really nicely. I know this isn't probably an exciting video because I'm not making anything, but I did want to show you how I clean my stamps. I don't do it very often. And these were the ones, these two here were the ones that were not sticking. So Oh, they're still not sticking. Let's see. Let's see if I could dry this a little bit. This is, Tim takes the cover off. I know I saw that on one of his lives, that he said he takes them out of the casing, which kind of surprised me. Gotta make sure this sticks. See, it's got this goo here. It's probably impacting, and it's still wet. Yeah, I thought so. I like to, I mean, I could have easily just done a quick video. Now this one has gotten used a lot, but it's fun to visit. Now, if I could find a company that created remnant rubs, I'd be all over that. That would be fun. I would love to create my own. I love remnant rubs, and I hate when they get discontinued. He does use the binders. I used to use those binders, Robin, but to be honest, they're too bulky. They're too big. And I had, I think, I had like 5 or 6 of them, and I ended up selling them and changing the way I store my stamps because those binders are just too big. All right. But you need something, especially when they're loose like this. Because if you don't put them in something, then you're going to end up losing some of your smaller stamps. And that's just the facts. Yeah, I wish, like I said, I could find a company that would let me design my own remnant rubs, but the company I've been talking to, and they're in Arizona, surprisingly, my old state. And the company I've been talking to doesn't do remnant rubs. Bummer, right? I should ask them. Maybe they do. Okay, so I'm probably gonna have to be a little tighter because I have a lot of stamps left and I'm losing space here. I mean, that was the thing about having the template, you know, is every stamp had a place. Let's see. Tim says leaves him the casing. So you know it's missing. So I've seen it both ways, Melody. I've seen him say leave it in the casing, then I've seen him say he doesn't like to and he tears the casing off. So I guess it depends on the stamp, maybe. I mean, maybe this one might have been better to stay in the casing, but honestly, it was so torn up that I don't even think it would really work. So we'll see. And you know what? At the end of the day, if they don't stick the way I want them to, I'm gonna have them in this, so I'm not gonna lose them. And they might end up just in a baggie. Who knows? We'll see, right? But at least they'll be clean. But there was really not an option to keep them in that rubber casing because it was just so torn up. All right. I hope I don't run out of room here. Let's see. Maybe I'm going to have to start putting smaller ones in between. Yeah, I would agree with that, Robin. But you work with what you have, right? Okay, so that's pretty good. And who knows, maybe I'll regret. I mean, I don't know if I had a choice. The casing was all torn up. Yeah, if the casing is in place like the tidbits, it's staying in the casing. Because I agree, there, you know, there is it's a place for them. They don't get lost, and you've seen me lose my smalls before. So that's, yeah, I would agree with that. If the casing is not all torn up, sure, why not? There's no harm, right? Just keep it in the casing. But mine were falling out. Let's put that right there. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe I'll put this one here. I have to do some reorganization here based on special delivery. All right. Some of them might be upside down too. I just love this stamp set. It's a great set. All lovely and clean, yes. I'm sure they're going to get dirty really quickly though, because it's one of my favorite sets. But you know what? A dirty set is a loved set. So that's a neat stamp too. See, and by cleaning your stamps, believe it or not, it reminds you of what you have. So, I mean, hopefully I won't have any regrets, but again, I don't know if I really had a choice because the casing was all torn up and the stamps were falling out, and it just wasn't a good solution anymore. So, I mean, I'm not going to lose them. Definitely have some sort of catcher to catch stamps that fall off. But this is fine. Got a lot of littles left here. Okay. Seems like I don't know how I fit all of these stamps on here to begin with. But he did somehow. Alright, so you're overwhelmed with the stamps. Well, Melody, that means you need to slow your roll and reevaluate what you have before you buy new stamps. It can definitely get overwhelming. I've been stamping for a long time, and I was one of those people that bought every stamp that Tim came out with, and I found myself not using some of the items that I would purchase. So I changed my strategy on that, and I only buy, there's a certain type of stamp that I like. I love stamps that have the ephemera look. And that's typically, I know when stamps come out, Jim is so good about emailing me, hey, did you see the new stamp set that Tim released? And I'm like, yep, I think I'm going to get a couple. And he's like, oh, are you going to get this one and that one? And I'm like, yep. Those are the ones I'm getting because I have a certain style. Hi, Debbie. So you found storage pockets that work without cutting the sheets or weeding the rubber. Really? Okay. Well, do share, because I know we're all looking for solutions. I have to trim this a little bit, not bad, but a little bit, to get it to fit into the pocket that I work with. I don't put these in a binder, so I'm okay to cover up this hole right here. Let's see if I can put this down here. Oh, this can maybe go right here. Look at that. Okay. So when I lift this, y'all, all my stamps better not fall off, because you might see me cry. Okay. Ugh. Robin, yes, I know that about you. You do. I wish you didn't, but certainly I'm not going to tell any crafter what to do. And the reason I say that is sometimes if you buy the full set of anything without playing with it for a while, it may not be your jam. And I say that with experience because when I first saw the when I first saw the spritz sprays, and you were so kind, I don't know if I was supposed to say that, you were so kind as to send me walnut stain, and I tried it out, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. So, I mean, you know, I got lucky that way, right? But if it's not your jam, it's just a lot of money. See, these are coming off already. It's a lot of money to spend. Let me see how I'm going to do this. On something that you may or may not be a fan of in the end. So I'm going to put bigger stamps at the bottom. That will stick better. Let's see if we can do that. So the original packaging, yeah, see mine tears when I used to do that, Melody, but mine tears. Okay, I'm going to put this more in the middle, I think. So we'll put this guy down here. We're just going to do a little arranging. We'll see. We'll see. Again, they might fall off in the case, but I'm okay with that as long as I don't lose any. I don't mind them falling off. Okay. All right. Oh, I have this in my hand. I guess I need to find a spot for this. You tape them shut right away. Yeah, that's smart. And you know what? We really should take care of these stamps. I mean, it's definitely an investment. All right, so let's see. All right, let's see if I can get this in there. My desk is a little wet, so it's kind of sticking. All right, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can get this done. So I'm trying to lift. I just don't think there's any perfect way. See, I'm too far in the corner. But you know what? I'm just going to persevere and keep going. So when I do these again, they can't be too close to the edges. And it's tight enough where it's going to hold them pretty well in place, right? So let's see what we end up with here. I'm just gonna fold this over. Yeah, I couldn't find the side loading pockets for the bigger ones. They might be out there, but ta-da. It worked. So like I said, the good thing about this is it has a pocket. If they get loose, I'm not going to lose them. When I do work with these, I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to have a little bowl or something. And I was reading the comments. Go back to quilting. Oh, gosh, it's a lot of work. Have them so I don't lose them, because I have a tendency to lose my small stamps, and since these don't have their casing anymore, I want to make sure you know, that when I'm playing with these I don't lose them. And I know I should stop when I'm ahead, but I'm going to see if I can straighten this. But really, I really am okay. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'd say, you know, do what you're comfortable with. I would say if the casing is still intact and it works, that probably is the best thing to do, is to keep it in the casing. But at some point, you're going to be, you know, with a dilemma of your casing tearing, right? And you're going to have to make a decision on how you're going to store these well-loved stamps, because I'm certainly not going to get rid of these. I use them too often, and they're not cheap. But it's just a means to an end, right? It's just a way to store them, so that way you can put them away nicely and retrieve them when you're ready to work with them. So there you go. That's how I clean my stamps. I don't do it very often, and I don't typically take them out of the casing, but in this case I had to, just because of my tear here. They weren't staying in their place anymore, so just really didn't have an option for that. So hopefully I gave you guys something to think about. You know, if you're not comfortable with the way I do things, of course, you do you do what makes you comfortable. This is your investment, this is your stamp set. You know, do what is not going to stress you out. Certainly stamping shouldn't be stressful, but you know, with the investment that we have on this, we want to keep them as clean and as beautiful as possible. So that's all I've got, guys. I just wanted to share with you what I was doing. I've got to clean this room today. I will be back tomorrow for our Saturday afternoon crafting. Let me show you what we're gonna make. I have them here somewhere. So cute. We're gonna make. I kept working with those Sissics. Those Sissics die. And I decided to make little to and from tags. Thank you. Using some stickers in my shop. So if you want to play along tomorrow, I'm going to be using some of the stickers in my shop. I'm using the vintage Christmas ones, I think these are. But I've got lots of stickers, guys, that I have to move. So hopefully I'll give you guys a good idea and you'll just have to play along. But that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're going to be making lots of tags, because I'm going to use up all of these, and then I might stick some in the shop. But that's what we're going to do tomorrow. More postage play, but instead of creating little postage stamps this time, we're going to make little tags to go on our presents. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Hopefully you guys will tune in for that, and we'll have some more time to chit chat. And yeah, that's it. All right, y'all, we will see you later. Have a great Saturday.